Hi, this is our group video report. I'm Lauren, and the first part that we're going to be talking about is comparing and contrasting all of ours. And when I interviewed my friend, we talked about his math class and how he felt good about himself when he got good grades, and it was a feeling that he enjoyed and wanted to happen again, which can be seen as internal attributions and intrinsic motivation, because he was proud of himself for doing that, and he made himself want to work harder and continue getting those good grades.
I'm Danielle, and my partner had a lot of intrinsic motivation and an incremental view on intelligence, because when she was younger she had problems in school with English because she came from Japan and her mom spoke a different language, so she had really broken up English, but she came really far and now she's a really great student and can even help others with their English as well.
Okay, I'm Rachel. I noticed with my student that she had more motivation when she was already doing well in classes, and if she began to fall behind, she had a sort of learned helplessness, and she had a lot less motivation. She didn't really try. And then I also noticed that I was able to analyze the attribution theory more than anything else in the interview process.
I'm Bill, and for my third interaction, I learned how my partner kind of had a little bit of both extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. Growing up, he had a lot of extrinsic from his parents, always putting pressure on him for always being perfect and all that stuff. And then now, kind of growing up, it's kind of turned internal, and he really does it for himself now, and he believes that effort is the sole determination of how well you'll do.
The second thing that we're going to talk about is the things that we learned from other students, and two of the things that I learned were other students and myself do better when they like the professor, because they're just more interested in paying attention in the topic, and they just try better in general. And another thing that I learned was sometimes students have different things that they're good at, and they're more motivated in difficult courses because they want to overcome the setbacks that they have in front of them.
I kind of learned that not everyone starts in the same position. Some people could start in advanced programs if their parents put them when they're younger, or the person I worked with started farther behind because she didn't start education in America. But everybody has the ability to grow and accomplish what they want to. And then I also learned that everyone defines success differently. Some people might say that success is getting the A, or some people might think that it's just learning something from the class and taking something away from it.
I realized that other students get discouraged when doing poorly in a class, which is kind of how I feel, and then a lot of students feel pressure by their families and parents to do what they want to do instead of following what the student themselves wants.
What I learned from my partners, I always thought my parents were pretty demanding and hard on me, but after all these interactions, I learned that there's some kids out there with a whole different level of demanding parents. Something that, I don't know, it really shocked me.
The third part that we're going to talk about is things that we learned about ourselves. And two of the things that I learned about myself were I definitely try harder when I'm intrinsically motivated in classes, because I just enjoy them. And I also learned that all the required classes that we have to take here, I would definitely rather have an easy A, but the classes that are going towards my major that I get to pick, I like when they're difficult, because I feel like I'm learning more from them.
I realized that a lot of the time I have more extrinsic motivation when I should have intrinsic. I just strive for the grade instead of getting the most out of the class. And I always take the easy route to get the good grade. And then also I learned that the more competent I am in a subject, the more likely I would want to work on the homework, because I feel like I actually know what I'm doing. Whereas classes that are hard and you struggle with, it's harder to be motivated to work on that, I guess.
I realized that I have a tendency to judge other students based on their majors and their the choices they make. When I noticed that my partner was kind of judging me, I like took it upon myself to realize I do the same thing and that I need to work on that. And then this project also made me realize that I do want to go into the field of education after like spending time with my partner and learning about like all of what her pre-med job field, like what it entails.
What I learned from these interactions was how extrinsically motivated I was. After listening to Michael explain all of his experiences, I never really like had a understanding of what motivated me, and the more he explained it, I could kind of relate that to myself and realize that a lot of things I do is for other people. So. Yeah.
For our last part, we're applying it to education, and I applied it to education because when I am working in that field, I will try to make sure like students have an understanding and have good tools to understand, because I feel like they're more likely to put in effort and try, and that they'll want to learn when they have those tools.
For me, for implications for teaching, I put that to try to get the students to strive for more intrinsic motivation instead of extrinsic, and try to get them to want to work hard for themselves instead of just to get a good grade, and that all students have the ability to grow and not to judge them off of how they are in the classroom right away, and to look more into background and where they came from to know why they're at where they are.
For teaching, I need to remember that students will be motivated at different times for different reasons, and I need to take that into consideration. And then I also want to open up the possibility of like different jobs and like futures can be good for different reasons, so that students like will be less likely to judge each other for like what they like hope to be in life.
Not being an education major, I kind of apply these to like advertising, workplace type of thing. I saw like how different people can learn and the importance of just kind of keeping that in mind, that maybe an employee won't always learn the same as the other, so just keep that in mind. It could really help them out. And then making good connections and relationships with employees can greatly affect their motivation to be more productive and just perform better in the workplace.